in lesson 2.6. This means we are ready for this page, okay? The front side of the notes is quadratic formula, okay? How do we use it? I tried to show you, we did 4, which was kind of overkill, but I was trying to show you all the different ways answers could come out, okay? Different ways we can simplify. Now we're going to look at just a small piece of the quadratic formula called the discriminant. So the value underneath the square root sign, underneath the radical sign, b squared minus 4ac, is called the discriminant. And if you know just that value, which is a little bit easier to find, it can help you to predict how many solutions and what type of solutions you're going to have there. Okay? And so that's what we're going to look at a little bit is, okay, how can we figure out what type of solutions these are going to be? Okay? Just knowing the number under the square root. So, for instance here, in this first one, if b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, what does it mean if a number is greater than 0? That means the number is positive, yes? Okay, so if b squared minus 4ac works out to be positive, that means you're going to have the plus or minus of some number, and there's going to be 2 real solutions because you'd be taking the square root of a positive number, and so that means there's going to be 2 real solutions. Okay, just by knowing if it's a positive. Okay, now the specific positive number would tell you if they're going to be rational or irrational, and I believe we talk about that a little bit when we get down there too. Okay, if b squared minus 4ac is exactly equal to 0. We had that happen yesterday when we had to do, what was it, 36 minus 36 under the square root. We got a 0. Notice if you go back and look on your front side, there was only 1 solution. Okay, and I'm not referencing the graphs up here. I should be. 1 solution because how often does this graph touch the x-axis? Once. 2 solutions over here. How often did this graph touch the x-axis? Twice. And then we have the final option is if your discriminant b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. If something is less than 0, then that's fancy speak for saying negative. Okay, so if your number under the square root becomes negative, okay, we can still say there's going to be 2 solutions, but specifically they are non-real solutions, okay? Because that number under the square root is negative, you're going to have an I involved. And so we're going to get imaginary answers. Notice, does this physical graph cross the x-axis? It doesn't. So there's imaginary solutions, but there's not real solutions. You will often hear, if the discriminant is less than 0 or negative, you'll also hear there's no real solutions. So 2 imaginary solutions or no real solutions. And I don't remember which way Savas wants that. It looks like in my notes they probably go for the 2 non-real solutions. Okay? So it kind of relates a little bit to what we talked about yesterday. Okay. I'm going to just write this in as a 0 here, even though it already says 0. Okay, so we're going to practice a little bit real quick. We have some equations. They ask us to find the discriminant. So when they ask us to find the discriminant, we're trying to find b squared minus 4ac, and then just based on that, how many solutions there are and what type of solutions there are. Okay? But we don't have to do all the hard work to find it. Now, you may or may not want to. I'm going to just still do ABCs, at least for some of these. What is a in this scenario? 16 because it's in front of x squared. B is 8 because it's in front of x. And C is 1. And keep in mind, I jumped right into ABCs. Your equation still has to equal 0, right? That's not going to change before you get your ABCs. So let's go through and find b squared minus 4ac. All I want to find is the discriminant. So put in some numbers. B is 8, so 8 squared minus 4 times A is 16 times C is 1. Okay, do some math. 8 squared is 64. 4 times 16 times 1 is also 64. And 64 minus 64 is 0. Okay, guys. We just got that it equals 0. I know it says 0, but okay. With that in mind, my discriminant is 0. What's that mean in terms of solutions? Okay, if you look up above, it's one real solution. We talked about yesterday it would be called a repeated solution. So there would be one real solution and it would be repeated. This is what you would be asked to answer on Savas. Okay, if I had to guess, it's multiple choice. I'll be honest, I don't remember. I can't remember what these, I even looked at them, but I don't remember how they had it set up. But there is one real solution. It would be a repeated solution if that needed to be said. And that's the answer to your problem. How many solutions are there? What type of solutions are there? Okay, it would be a real solution. Okay, technically I know it would be rational because there wouldn't be a square root involved. I would know that. But questions on that? Okay, it's an easy thing. It's not designed to be difficult. You can make it difficult, but we're not trying to. Okay, let's look at B. 2x squared equals 5x minus 6. What has to be done first here? Yeah. Your equation needs to equal 0 before you talk ABCs. I still like to go for a positive x squared, so I would subtract the 5x and add the 6. However, in this scenario, you could subtract the 2x squared and it wouldn't matter. Okay? But I personally am going to subtract 5x and add 6. So if that is the case, I end up with 2x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. So in that scenario, my A is 2, coefficient of x squared, B is negative 5, coefficient of x, and C is 6. Okay. Fill in your discriminant. B squared minus 4AC. And I will say, if you happen to, and I doubt you guys did, but if you guys went the other way and all your signs are opposite mine, your discriminant will still work out the same. Okay, so just an FYI. So B squared negative 5 squared minus 4 times A, my A, which is 2, times my C, which is 6. What is negative 25? What is negative 5 squared? 25. It's positive, yes? Because when you square a negative. Minus 4 times 2 times 6. So 4 times 2 is 8, times 6 is 48. Yeah, I'm struggling. And what do we know about 25 minus 48? It is negative. She didn't even give me a number. She just said it's negative. Depending on what they're asking, is that all that really matters? Yeah, depending on what they're asking, that could be all that really matters. And in all honesty, because it's negative, yeah, there's an imaginary part, so that's all that's going to matter. So with that in mind, okay, the key is that I got a negative answer. Now, I got a negative answer. What does that say about solutions? There's two non-real solutions because what you'd be taking the square root of negative 23. That's what you have to think. And the square root of a negative is going to be I. So we're going to have two non-real solutions. If you're asked how many real solutions, there's no real solutions. But for this scenario, we want two non-real solutions. Now, I'm guessing they don't ask this because I have it in parentheses, but I'm also going to remind you that these are then complex numbers. They're complex numbers because they're in that form A plus B, I. Okay? Easy stuff, right? Okay, C. Keep going through our different possibilities. X squared plus 7x equals negative 11. First step needs to be to add that 11 over, make it equal to 0. So now I have x squared plus 7x plus 11 equals 0. You guys are probably overlisting your ABCs, and that's fine. I'm going to list A as 1, B as 7, C as 11. On the other hand, though, if you're someone that you tend to make mistakes with your ABCs, this is a good, thing to help you keep organized. Okay, so I think you got the idea here, I'm sure. B squared minus 4AC. B is 7. 7 squared minus 4 times A, which is 1, times C, which is 11. 7 squared is 49. Minus 4 times 1 times 11, so minus 44. 49 minus 44 is 5. What do you know about the number 5? It's positive. Okay, my discriminant worked out to be positive. Or if you go back up to the original chart, it worked out to be greater than 0, yes? So if it is positive or greater than 0, what's it say up top? 2 real solutions, yes? Now, I want to talk about, though, are those solutions, and again, if I did this in my notes, I probably have reason. Are those real solutions going to be rational or irrational? What number would you be taking the square root of? And what do you know about the square root of 5? Okay, it's a fun, messy decimal, right? Someone yesterday called, in my afternoon class, called it an unhappy decimal. Okay, whatever makes you happy there. But because square root of 5 is that big, long, messy decimal, that means these two real answers are going to be irrational. Because remember, big, long, messy decimals are irrational. So I'm going to write down, most importantly, that this is 2 real solutions. Okay, 2 real solutions. But I'm also going to make note that they are irrational. And they are irrational because I would be taking the square root of 5 that I can't do. Okay, that's how I know it's going to be irrational answers. Okay. One more in this section. 6x squared minus 15 equals negative x. I don't care if you tell me your ABCs or not, but before you get started, you need to add the x over. Now, where are we going to add that x? In the middle, yes? So I have 6x squared plus x minus 15 equals 0. Humor me for a moment. A is 6, B is 1, and C is negative 15. So, are you ahead of me? Have you done the discriminant? B squared minus 4AC. So what are we doing? 1 squared minus 4 times 6 times negative 15. So 1, I got that easy. 4 times 6 is 24, times 15 is some number I don't know. Looks like 360. I see a minus times a negative, which means this is going to be plus 360. 1 plus 360 is 361. What do we know about 361 in reference to the discriminant? Oh, I wasn't even going to go there yet. Before we get there, 361 is a positive value, yes? So because it's a positive value, what does my chart up at the top of this page tell me? There are two real solutions, yes? It's going to be plus or minus the square root of 361. Now, because I'm talking about it today, square root of 361. That's not one I know off the top of my head. But the calculator is our friend here, yes? And the square root of 361, according to the calculator, is 19. That means when I do my plus or minus, I'm going to be doing plus or minus 19. These answers are going to work out to not have a square root in them, so these answers are going to work out to be rational because I could take that square root. Okay, so I'm going to mention, first of all, most importantly, that there are two real solutions because it came out positive. Now, added on, square root of 361, I know it works out to be a nice, neat number. So that means these two real solutions are going to be rational. Okay? So, if in homework they reference the discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, that's also listed on your blue paper. Okay? If in homework they ask how many solutions are there, what type of solutions are there, do you have to work out the whole problem? You don't. You can just do b squared minus 4ac. Okay? And let's go talk about Dion for a moment. Okay? Dion is back. And Dion throws the ball into the air. I think this sounds like yesterday, doesn't it? The height h of the ball in meters at any time t seconds is modeled by the function h of t equals negative 5t squared plus t plus 4. Yesterday, it was when will the ball hit the ground. So we set our equation equal to 0. This time, it's will the ball reach a height of 5 meters. So technically, this is a yes or no question, yes? Now, will the ball reach a height of 5 meters? What's that have to tell your brain there? Will the ball reach a height of 5 meters? Where do I put that 5? The question is, will the ball reach a height of 5 meters? Then we're putting 5 in for h. Okay. So that means right here, this is going to become 5. Because the question is, will the ball reach a height of 5 meters? So will that equation equal 5? So I'm going to set my equation. Negative 5t squared plus t plus 4 equal to 5. Now, no matter what I do next, I have to make my equation equal to 0. Because whether I'm doing the quadratic formula or whether I'm doing the discriminant, I haven't even discussed that part with you. In order to talk ABCs, does my equation have to equal 0? It does. This one's a little different, isn't it? We haven't done anything like this, but that's okay. So in order to make this equal to 0, I'm going to subtract the 5 over. So now I have negative 5t squared plus t, and 4 minus 5 is minus 1 equals 0. So with that in mind, I'm going to talk ABC again. And it's important that you get the right ABCs. A is negative 5. B is the number in front of t, so that is 1. And what's C work out to be? Negative 1. Not the 4, not the 5, but 4 minus 5, or negative 1. Okay. Now, the question is, what do I do with these ABCs? Will the ball reach a height of 5? Do I need a number answer there? Technically, will the ball reach a height of 5? That's either yes it will or no it won't. As in, yes, there are solutions to this problem, or no, there are not solutions to this problem. So I'm trying to get you guys to say all we need to do is the discriminant here. We don't actually have to find the quadratic formula. We only need to do the discriminant. So we just need to look at what is b squared minus 4ac. So 1 squared minus 4 times negative 5 times negative 1. 1 squared is 1. Now, I think you guys go more official than me. I just look at, forget signs for a moment. What's 4 times 5 times 1? 4 times 5 is 20, times 1 is 20. So I know it's a 20. Then I look at the signs. I see a minus and a negative and a negative. So basically what happens when you multiply 3 negatives? You get a negative, right? So this is going to be 1 minus 20. Do some big math. 1 minus 20 is negative 19. What do you think this tells me? Okay. So negative 19 is, let me state the obvious, it is negative, right? What does a negative discriminant tell you? To what? Non-real. We're talking a football in the air. Do we care about non-real answers? No, that's the two non-real answers is the equivalent of saying 0 real solutions. Okay, so because of this, there are no real solutions. Okay, I'm not going to argue the fact there's 2 non-real, but we're talking Dion throwing a ball in the air. I don't care about the imaginary ones. They're not real. There are no real solutions. So with that said, no, the ball will not reach a height of 5 meters. Does that make sense? Okay, so just trying to show you there a way where you don't have to work out the whole quadratic formula. You can just use a discriminant. Okay, that's where there's an advantage to it. Okay, you guys have some work time. I have some quizzes I can show you. I have some quadratic formula songs I can play for you if you want something to get stuck in your head, you know. Lesson 2.6 homework is out there. It'll be listed as due tomorrow. Did you guys get 2.5 done? 2.5 was due yesterday. I haven't put anything in Skyward yet, but if I put that 0 in Skyward, you're going to start this 9 weeks with a 0%. Not a good plan, so, okay. Got some time, use it.